Every year we do this report. Hundreds of vanity plates get rejected by the BMV in Ohio for one reason or another. But now a federal judge says the BMV may be overstepping when it comes to the First Amendment freedom of speech issue. 19 data journalist Dan DeRose has actually done so many of these stories, the ones that get thrown out and the reasons why, but he's explaining this ruling.
Yeah, 3 defendants actually sued the Ohio BMV because they said this isn't right. Everything that's getting rejected, this is a First Amendment issue, and a federal judge last week agreed. I'm not going to get into what this plate, and this is just an example of one that was rejected from a couple of years ago. You can probably determine what they were trying to say. That person clearly doesn't like COVID. Who does? But here's the rules. Now, there's a committee down in Columbus that they meet every day for all the intake that they get, all the people who apply for vanity plates. And that committee decides what gets rejected based on rules. Here's the first one. Plates that are so offensive that they could reasonably be expected to revoke a violent response from a viewer without additional comment. Just imagine if somebody put a bad word and the word Michigan because they don't like the Michigan Wolverines. That could evoke a response. Here's another example. Plates that advocate for immediate lawlessness or lawless activities. We've seen people in the past, they want murderer on their license plate. That's not the one. But here's the issue that the judge had. The last rule. Plates that are profane or can be interpreted. It is this phrase right here, can be interpreted as obscene, sexually explicit, or scatological. The judge says whoever has put in this interpreted part, they've gone too far. One of the defendants wanted the word gay on his license plate, and it was denied. Now, Ohio BMV, after that ruling from the federal judge, I asked for an interview today. What are you going to do differently? They said they're not going to comment because it is still pending. They're going to appeal this. This could essentially go to the Ohio Supreme Court, maybe all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's also a ruling that they said the standard is too broad. He also said that the BMV now has to go through the 3,400 plates that are on the banned list and review them. Now, nobody's getting their plates yet that are on that list, but this will now go to the next fight in court.
All right, Dan.